Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you the second part of my office and craft room makeover. If you missed part 1, I showed you around my office, which is in the smaller of the 2 spare bedrooms in our home, and I tackled the first project where I turned the closet space into a usable and organized crafting area. Before this makeover, this space didn't bring me joy or inspire me to create, but now that the area is decluttered, organized, and makes me happy to look at, it's time to tackle the office part. My name is Gaby. I live with my husband and 2 dogs just outside of Austin, Texas, and last year we became first-time homeowners. Follow our journey as we turn our 109-year-old house into a home. In addition to being a YouTube creator, I'm also a full-time freelance web and graphic designer, and I have an Etsy store. So I do all of those jobs from this room. I knew it was time to make over this office when I found every excuse in the book not to be in this room. Whether I took my laptop to the couch or out to a coffee shop, down the street to the library, I just didn't feel inspired to be here. I really just needed a space that was comfortable, organized, and pretty much just set up exactly how I needed it to be. Let's jump back into the makeover and I'll explain my process, my challenges, and all my solutions along the way. This is part of the fun of having an old house. As I was patching this wall, I decided to take off this plate here to see what was behind it. Yeah, a bunch of spider webs. Looks like an old outlet. Yeah, that's really safe. Chris was able to look at the old outlet and figured out that it was totally dead. He removed the broken pieces, capped off the end, and patched up the drywall. I made sure to patch the other holes in the walls around the room and prime everything with a layer of Kills primer so that a new coat of paint would go on with no issue. I've had this old farmhouse table for a while. My mom got it at an estate sale, used it in her home for a long time, and then gave it to me when we moved to Texas just over 3 years ago. I decided to give it a new life by sanding off the chip paint and spray painting it my favorite color. I lined the drawer with wrapping paper from the Target dollar spot and used a bit of hot glue to hold it in place. I thoroughly cleaned both windows with Windex and scraped off some old tape and paint drips with a razor blade. I also removed the blinds and cleaned them by soaking them in our bathtub with a little bleach and water and then scrubbed them down. I found an IKEA coffee table on clearance and decided that we could probably use the top of it to fit in the nook as shelves. Chris cut the table in half using painter's tape as both a guide and to prevent the veneer finish from chipping. The underside was a brown color, so I just used some leftover trim paint and painted on 2 coats. I also had another little IKEA table that fit in the space, so I used that as a table on the bottom and then placed the shelf from the coffee table on top using a bit of hot glue to secure it to the table. This gave me a nice clean workspace since the table beneath was well loved and had a lot of imperfections. I found the same brackets as my closet shelves at Lowe's, and I liked these because they have a plastic piece over the top that hides the screws. I decided that black walls would be interesting to try, and I went over to Home Depot to get some paint. I talked to one of the employees, and they mentioned that they actually had a color darker than the standard black called carbon. It was really deep and rich and more of a pure black when you look at it in person. As soon as I started painting, I knew this was the right choice for my space, and it actually made the room feel much bigger and taller, which is kind of strange for a darker color. The entrance to our attic happens to be in this room. The molding around the entrance was falling off when we bought the house, and we had done a quick fix just to re-screw it back in, but it was time to replace it. Since we had everything taken apart anyway, Chris added a layer of foam insulation to the backside of the attic door so that the room wouldn't feel quite as hot. He used spray adhesive to adhere the foam insulation. He also cut pre-primed molding to size and drilled pocket holes to make a frame. He then screwed everything back into the ceiling. I came in later and caulked around the edges and painted everything with leftover trim paint. Ultimately, we would love to put in a ladder entrance, but with 12-foot ceilings, they're a little bit too pricey for this low-budget makeover, so eventually we might get one. Just not today. I found a gallon of clearance paint at Walmart and decided I would use that for the ceiling to brighten it up a bit. I'm using a small roller here just because it was what I already had at the house, and I really didn't feel like going out yet again to the hardware store. For the gallery wall above my desk, I laid out a basic plan on the floor and then hung everything on my wall. You'll see later in this video that I ended up adding a small picture ledge in the middle as well. I really love how the colors in the artwork pop against that black wall, especially my flamingo painting that my sweet friend Kristen painted for me. It's pretty much my favorite thing. A couple from my roller derby league gave me this IKEA metal set of drawers for free, and it was just what I needed to store some of my paper goods like printer paper, labels, gift wrap, and envelopes. Previously, I was using a couple of metal file bins to store that kind of stuff, and I ended up using those bins underneath my computer monitors, which eliminated the need to purchase a new monitor stand. The outlets and light switches in our house are black, and it's something that always bothers both of us. For some reason, they just seem really cheap and they stick out like a sore thumb from the white crown molding and trim. I also wanted to switch out to the more modern paddle switches instead of that traditional switch. Chris was able to safely change out 4 outlets and the 2 fan and light switches in this room, and we plan to replace all of them room by room as we make over our home. Ready? Yeah! It works! Awesome! We also replaced 4 outlets, one back there, one over here, one back there, and one under there. The final DIY I did in this room was for my desk chair. I've actually been searching for a newer ergonomic chair, but I haven't been able to find one that I love. I figured I'd upcycle this steel case chair. This one originally came from my grandparents' publishing company, and when they upgraded desk chairs years ago, I wanted this one for my room since it was pink. I was in elementary school at the time, and now I'm 31, so you can probably tell that this chair has seen better days. It's been making my back hurt too, so I knew that it needed some extra padding. I ended up cutting off the extra bulk of the pink fabric and then cleaned the metal base and chrome by using Windex and a paper towel, and then using crumpled up aluminum foil and some water to clean the chrome parts. That's a Pinterest hack that I found a while back, and it actually works really well. It sounds weird, but you just take a crumpled up piece of foil and you dip it in tap water, and then you use it like a little scrubber. Rust and dirt comes right off. I added foam and batting on top using spray adhesive and a staple gun. I had upholstery fabric left over from when I used to make purses, and foam and batting left over from making my brother-in-law a motorcycle seat a couple of years ago. This process is not an official way of doing this by any means, and if I had to do this over, I would not have used vinyl, since it's really thick and it's just so hard to work with. I literally wrestled with this seat to get it all screwed together, but ultimately, I love the end result, and surprisingly, it's really comfortable now. We also moved part of our sectional sofa into this room since it wasn't fitting into our family room, and this provides a great solution for my dogs to have a place to sit since they love to be with their mama when she's working. This video gave you inspiration to make a change in your home. I'm so happy that we did this office makeover. I keep coming in here and looking around, and it's just like perfect for what I need it to be. Please consider subscribing to my channel and be sure to hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing. See you next time.